life. I mean, I pretty much was winging everything when I first started. Um, and I remember one time I was doing well in business. Again, I could just give you several stories, but this is one story that just totally came to me. Um, I had to speak at a leaders meeting in front of probably a couple hundred people. And, I had the honor to speak in front of people. And I'd ran a bunch of morning meetings by this time. So I'm like, oh, man, I know how to talk to people. And I did no preparation, just thinking I'm going to get up there and just belt out some magic. And I got up there and I completely freaking bombed. I just totally bombed. I kind of went cold. The crowd's looking at me, feeling really bad for me. And my face turns, I could feel the heat coming into my face. And I'm like, and I had a leader in my office. I was asking people after. I'm like, hey, how was the leaders conference? Oh, Jamie, everything's great. I'm like, well, how'd I do? Like, Jamie, when I was embarrassed to tell people I worked in your office. I'm like, damn, like it was that bad. You're embarrassed to tell people you worked in my office. So, pain is a great motivator. I tell that to my kids all the time. Pain is a great motivator. Pain will get you to jump. So I guess how much pain do you need to go through? How much do you need to suck until you realize you better start preparing? Again, anybody you look at in sports or musician or anything, like lately I've been into Taylor Swift and now I'm looking into some of her habits. That chick is a worker, man. She is a master preparer. Like, she's one of the best of the best. The Michael Jordans of this world, I mean, they prepare. Kobe Bryant, I mean, in LA here forever, like, there was no new scenario for him playing basketball. He had already practiced those scenarios a million times over. So by the time it was game time, he always felt like time was slowing down for him because he was so prepared. So I guess, again, you don't have to be a prepared guy. You could take this session that I gave you guys here today. You could trash it, delete it. Sam's going to talk about it again tomorrow. You could be absent from her meeting tomorrow and be like, yeah, I already heard it. I don't like this stuff. You could go without doing it, and eventually you're going to fall flat on your face. With all this God-given potential that you have, you're going to fall on your face, and you're going to realize you need to prepare, you need to plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And you can test it out. I welcome the challenge. But I don't know anybody who's, even like all the high I's I've worked with over the years, right? Because a lot of oh, Jamie, you're a C. I'm like, well, listen, back to the question. It's not natural for me to do it. I don't like doing it. Don't think for 1 second, this is your wheelhouse, Jamie. So when I talk to the I's, I'm like, listen, and I've seen so many of these I's. Sebastian's a good example of this. Sebastian is an I-type personality who understood the value of structure, rituals, routines in his life. And he took that amazing I personality, put some structure to it, and just became a monster. So the I's are the ones that really find value in this kind of material. So never kind of give yourself that personality profile escape. Like, if you're an I, this is for you. If you're a C, just get the discipline to do this because you already know intuitively this is important stuff. Just get the discipline to do it. But the I's, you need this stuff. And again, test me. Just try running an office without doing it, and let's just see how it goes. I can't tell you how many people I've been on the phone with where, Jamie, my owner's ripping me off. I'm like, oh, what happened? And the owner just forgot something on payroll because he wasn't planning, wasn't preparing, wasn't buttoned up. And then, so then you've got this rep that looks at the owner like the owner's got character issues or is shady. And I know the owner, and I'm not trying to defend the owner. Like, hey, I just know this owner's not shady. They don't lack character. The guy's just really unorganized. But the interpretation from his people is that, yeah, you're shady. You're ripping me off. I deserve that $100 bonus. You didn't pay me. You're ripping me off. So you got to plan. You got to prepare. You got to be organized. Well, again, I wasn't doing any of this stuff year one. I mean, I'm a lot of trial and error year one. I didn't go to this course. Again, when I went to this course with Vera, actually, it's funny. When I met Gary, first day I met Gary Polson, before he even joined the business. This is kind of one of these little pieces of history for you. I'm a rookie owner in Burbank, California, and Gary comes to visit. I'm told, hey, there's this guy coming in. He's maybe going to be an investor in the company or something like that, Jamie. Just whatever questions he's got, just be an open book. I'm like, okay. That's when I met Gary. He comes to my office, right? And he asked me, he says, Jamie, what's the biggest pain point you have in your business? And I said to him, I'm like, Gary, it feels like my speedometer says 100 miles an hour. I'm going, man. My legs are going. But in reality, I'm only going 10 miles an hour. It feels like I'm driving a car. I'm driving my business on ice. I'm going 10, but the speedometer says 100. And he's just writing it down. It's interesting. And then months later, when Gary's finally in the business, Gary says, Jamie, I want to send you and Vera to this time management course. And I'm responding, and it happened to be on a Monday. Or I'll never forget, it just happened to be on a Monday, which was like the craziest day for me of the week. I'm like, oh, Monday is my busiest day. And so I'm writing back a response. Gary, I'm too busy for a time management. Oh, backspace, 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 backspace. I'd love to. You know? Right? So I'm like, thank you. And so then I go to this course again, values cards, like, you know, and listen, you go to franklincovey.com. All these courses exist. I would highly suggest, listen, if Sidcore is your only source of education, you're limiting yourself. There are some unbelievable courses. Before Donald Trump ever became a politician, most of you young people are like, yeah, Trump, politician, whether you like him or don't like him. Listen, I used to go to his seminars for real estate. So he'd be coming to town. I'm like, I want to go see the Donald. You know, who's this guy? He's got all this real estate in New York, whatever. And so he'd be at these seminars teaching people real estate. Robert Kiyosaki'd be there. John Maxwell courses, Stephen Covey. I mean, in today's day and age, you got Gary Vee. I mean, you've got all kinds of people that have all these courses that you could go to. The Vault, Patrick Bet-David, like spend the money. I went to my first Tony Robbins course. The course cost $1,000, and I think my net worth at the time was 1,001, and I went. And it was like money and time well spent. So, you know, that all those courses, all those additional resources that I found added to the game, because the game was, okay, build a crew, you know, have good character, develop your leadership. Okay, I can do all this stuff, but it was just a small little rinky-dink business for 2.5 years. For 2.5 years, I never ran an office with a higher head count than 10. And then just started adding some layers to it, some structure to it, and then took off after that. So no outside deals first 2.5 years. Next 2.5 years was an org consultant. Like it happened fairly quickly with some structure and some like, oh, this is smart stuff. Thank you, John Maxwell. Why didn't I think of this myself? Oh yeah, decisions are exposed to your daily decisions. Duh. Why don't I decide what my values are on the front end? Huh, duh. Right? Like just all these little light bulbs started going off as I was reading rich material. All the podcasts you guys listen to, like be really intentional and smart about that, man. I mean, the only music I listen to now is Taylor Swift because it's awesome, right? The rest is just podcasts. Just load me up with podcasts. I want to hear what all the smart people around the world are saying. Those little Apple iPhones or Samsung phones, I mean, it's just such a powerful education. It's your master's degree in your pocket. Use it.